Good day. As you can see, I'm filming this during daytime, which probably you can assume that's because I forgot to film it last night, which is a bummer, but here we are. Yes, major changes, hairstyle. It is a bit scuffed, but it will grow back. Meanwhile, I will have this cap to cover everything up, to cover up the damage. Damn it. It's fine. It'll grow back, but next time when I do go to cut my hair, I will order it so that I have a hairstyle where I can grow my hair and not shorten it to where it looks ridiculous. Yes, this is not exactly the most, how would you put it, desirable. Anyway, lots of things happened yesterday, and I'm really pissed off that I didn't film yesterday. That was partly because I was chatting on social media too much, and partly because I was having a good time with my life. Yesterday was my birthday, so yes, it's a darn pity that I couldn't film yesterday, but I did put a lot of notes on my iPad for writing, and I did organize my thoughts here, so yeah, no problems. But yes, so yesterday was my birthday. Honestly, that doesn't really mean much for me because it's not like I keep track of birthdays. But yes, I mean, I do keep track. It's like a small treat. I don't give it too much meaning. It's just another day of the year. Yes, we're 17 years ago I was born, and now we're here. And then that's a thing now, but yes. Okay, so big things that happened yesterday. Obviously, passively it was my birthday, but actively, I went on a volunteering trip to Seoul, where I participated in 2 different volunteering activities, both targeted for homeless people in Korea. And the first activity was volunteering for free lunch and free dinner, which is like, they have a small cafeteria with a they have a small cafeteria where when it's fully populated, it can host up to 30 people, and they had 160-ish people come in for dinner because I was serving dinner. Yes, so cafeteria serving volunteer work would be how I would phrase that. It was interesting, but really wasn't the most productive. Yes, it helped, sure, but it really didn't help in terms of my purpose there, which I was there to gain some information about the homeless society and community in South Korea. And I couldn't really do that when I was just scooping soup, pouring soup, scooping soup, pouring soup for maybe an hour. So yes, I couldn't talk to them. They weren't exactly the most extroverted you can imagine. So I was sort of just there doing the work, not really talking. The most I got was through conversations with one of the main chefs there, who was in charge of the operation of serving food. But yes, I didn't really get any information from that activity. However, I mentioned that I had 2 volunteering activities that day. Shortly after I finished the cafeteria serving activity, I moved on to sort of the street patrol activity. They phrased it as street therapy, but I would phrase it as street patrol because that's really what they do, is they go out on patrols and they check in on homeless people to see if they're okay, especially since it's in the winter and a lot of them are vulnerable to cold and other diseases. Also, they might not have enough to eat, they might have run out of supplies, so it's a patrol. Yeah, that's how I put it. And it really reminded me of one of those documentaries I saw of Pennsylvania, where they had citizens patrol streets where drug addicts were at large, and they try to stop them from overdose and narcotic uh, casualties. So yeah, it did remind me of that. However, in Korea, we don't really have those those severe kinds of drug use. So it was a lot safer, just to say. And yes, so my thoughts on that were, firstly, it's a lot more complex than I had anticipated, because on the internet it sort of gives you a lot of dated information about the homelessness in Korea. It says that most of them are homeless and they can only remain homeless because their credit scores are banged up due to some events of the past, like the IMF in the 2000s, or the subprime mortgage event and the financial crisis that affected South Korea in the year 2008. And that's why a lot of people who invested in some of those assets went bankrupt, got a lot of debt, and were kicked out of society. I researched a bit. I mean, not researched. I asked the one of my mentors at the volunteering expedition during the volunteering expedition yesterday, and they actually told me a very interesting thing, is that that's not the case. Most of them are remain homeless because they sort of have grown accustomed to the lifestyle. So it's not that they don't have enough policies or campaigns to rehabilitate them and make them return to society. They do. The government and many other organizations that that try to help the homeless people have some of those policies in store that they can utilize to their advantage. Problem is, that's really not easy for the homeless people to do, especially when they've been homeless for more than 10 or 20 years, and they're completely separated from society. Uh, it's sort of like, how would you put it? Um, it's sort of like a prison, but oh, I got a good analogy for this. So you know the phrase, you're in a crowd, but you're still lonely, right? I think that's exactly what it is. Is you're in one of the most populated areas in South Korea, which is a developed country, uh, to when compared to other countries, at least. But and you're in like the hub of transportation. You're at Seoul Station. That's like the biggest train station in South Korea. So you're at Seoul Station, which is like the central hub of transportation. It's where a lot of trains exit and a lot of traffic comes and goes. And because of that, they also have lots of stores. So you're in basically one of the most crowded places in South Korea. But you are alone and you're separated from all of that because you don't participate in any of those activities. Not, I wouldn't say activities, um, which is interesting because you're in that place where you sort of have to be civilized to join, but I'm not saying they're not civilized. Okay, they are. They know how to use civilized objects, but their lifestyle is so separate from that of normal modern people that it's almost uncanny. I mean, not uncanny. It's I don't I am at a loss of words to phrase that. But they live in boxes. They live in tents and train stations, and they lack will to return to society, which I don't see at all as their fault or uh, their blame in any way, because, I mean, how can you blame them? It's that they've lived that way for 10 or more years. And I've lived in this way for 10 or more years. And if someone asked me to change my lifestyle, that'd be incredibly difficult. If there was a way for me to not change my lifestyle, I wouldn't, right? And I guess that's sort of how it is for them too, is the amount of freedom. I'll call it liberty. The amount of liberty they get from living as a homeless person is, when compared to the liberty that you get uh, when you're aided by policies and you live in apartments. When you weigh those two, then when we're just looking at the absolute amount of freedom they get, homelessness gives you a lot more freedom of action. Now, you might be wondering if you could call it freedom or liberty when you can you can't do anything with that liberty. You might think that, and that's what I did, but I've changed a bit of my perspective, and I sort of think that might be the kind of freedom they want, which is hard for us to understand, but I also think it's we shouldn't look at it from the perspective of society, because we have to understand that their group and their understanding is vastly different from ours. So yes, I was initially there and to participate in those volunteering activities because I have a integrated project going on about how I can improve their living conditions. And so initially I was there with the background information that they couldn't return to society, and that's why the best I could do for them is to improve their living conditions through uh, kits like hygiene, kits that included items related to hygiene or housing or um, temperature stabilization, things like that, and disease and medicine. But I went there and I realized most of them, um, the fact doesn't change. They still can't. It's not, they're not returning to society. It's they can't, because it's not a problem of physical possibility. It's a problem of mental capability and psychological aspects, I think, are included too. But it's not a problem of, are they physically possible and is it realistically possible? To answer that question, absolutely. They are capable of returning to society. Would that, will they do that? No, absolutely not, because they're not capable of making that choice mentally, is the best way I could put it. So, uh, I got a lot of information yesterday, but the point is, for the integrated project itself, we have no problems. It's actually uh, way more. Uh, I see a wave of opportunity here, because basically what our project was intending to do is improve their uh, not lifestyle but living conditions through kits, right? And their living conditions are pretty bad. The social volunteering workers do give them the additional hot pack and some shaving tools, some toothpaste, and stuff like that, but still they are lacking in a lot of things, like housing, for example. They live in uh, semi houses that they've built out of cardboard and recycled and cardboard, styrofoam, and some string. And let's just say that's not exactly ideal, right? When you're sleeping on the streets, which are cold, and that's why most of them sleep under uh, in the train stations below. But still, I think I can improve their housing significantly, and I've gleaned some good ideas from the patrol yesterday. So yes, in terms of the integrated project, it's going swimmingly. It's absolutely fantastic, and I definitely know I can make a lot of things that can help them realistically. From the perspective of me as a modern citizen, it's sort of very, the experience was very impactful. Let's just put it that way. I did not know that so many people were living that way. I did not know that the problem wasn't with policy, it was with something else, I guess, a mental aspect of it, or a psychological problem. But yeah, and the reason is the reason I was thinking so much about them as people and as individuals, and the reason I'm contemplating their purpose and their lifestyle instead of just working on my integrated project is because it's bad timing, really. I'm reading a book called Waiting for Godot for my English literature and uh, composition class, and there it mentions um, so both Estragon and Vladimir are waiting for something that uh, are they're both waiting for Godot, which is never going to come, and the process is endless and meaningless, and they try to give it meaning, which is the best humans can do. They try to breathe in meaning to something that's absolutely meaningless. And contrast that to the life of homeless people, which they're living their lives and they're also trying to breathe in meaning, but no one comes looking for them except for the volunteer workers. No one comes looking for them. No one needs them. No one, I mean, that was kind of harsh, but that's true. As in, no one comes looking for them. They're not scheduled to do anything. They don't have to do anything. So that got me thinking a lot on why we exist, is because looking at them, there's, okay, I mean, this video reflection is getting bad. The quality is getting subpar because I haven't had the chance to fully organize my thoughts, but the main idea I want to convey is, what would be their purpose of life? Would it be, those small things that they get to enjoy, like, because they get to ride trains for free, right? Because they have no repercussions. So would that be their meals, that they can go wherever and eat meals? Because that's a thing they can do. Would it be their recreational activities that are supported by state and national organizations? Would it be... See, I don't know, okay? I don't know what their life meaning is. Why? Because and then I got thinking, is what's my life meaning? What makes me so much different from them? And I can't answer that because I don't know. I don't know my life meaning. Yeah, because I ask, why do they persist this life? Why do they continue on with this life, or with their homeless life? I mean, I'm not saying kill yourself. I'm saying, why persist that lifestyle? Because I'm curious. But then I ask myself, why not? Why pursue my lifestyle of meaning, and of what meaning? What kind of meaning does my lifestyle have? Well, what makes my life so much better than them? And I don't know, right? Because it doesn't. It's not that different. Okay, so this is a hard topic to grasp. It's for me too, and listening to me jumble all of these words, it's probably going to make you, oh, Jesus, I've lost words, but It's going to make your brain a bit crowded. But the thing is, okay, so we know that, well, the question is, do we know? Do we really know? Why do you, why are you not homeless? What makes you so much different? You got a home, right? Does that make the difference? No, I don't think it does. Why do the homeless people not return to society? Why do they persist that lifestyle? And is that a bad thing? Because if that's what they want to do, and if it gives them the most happiness, then why not? And then the obvious macroeconomics answer would be because if nobody's putting in the work and nobody's making the money to pay for their expenses, then all those supplies and all those resources they get and supplements will be cut, and their lifestyle will be worse off. Sure. Uh, but why? Because I just don't get it. I can't wrap my mind around it. Okay, it's not an easy uh it's not an easy question. Mm, mm. Okay, so why do they stay homeless? Maybe they don't need a home. Okay, because they don't see meaning in those activities of society, like a job. Okay, why do I see meaning in that? Why? Um, what's so different? Why do I want to participate in this life of going to college, getting a job, and doing something that might not be meaningful? Honestly, I don't even understand what I'm trying to mumble at. Um, God, man, this ain't easy. You know, I like to say that normally I don't have a lot of thoughts. I don't. That's true. But yeah, yesterday got me thinking quite a bit. God, man, this is a complicated question. Why do I do the things I do? Why do I try not to be homeless? Well, maybe it's for comfort. That's a simple answer too. It's for comfort. And it makes total sense because homelessness is, as you can probably imagine, not exactly the most comfortable. But then the question is, then if it's for comfort, why do they stay homeless? And the second simple answer is maybe they're more comfortable that way. Makes sense. Okay. So they're really more comfortable staying homeless. That it. Um yeah. You know what? This video reflection has gotten way too long. I don't even know what I'm thinking at this point. It's gotten even more chaotic up here. But one line and point is, well, if they're going to stay homeless and they have no intent to change it, may as well make it a bit more comfortable to live in, maybe a bit more cozy, maybe a bit cleaner, maybe smell a bit less. So that's what my underrated project's going to be about, and bye-bye.